Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Lookup, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Wyrock, and in today's episode, we're asking the question, who should do the laundry? This is based on a study that just came out this past week. I read about it in The Atlantic, about looking at the different ways men and women deal with housework, the chores that we all have to do around the house, cooking, cleaning, and doing the laundry. Some interesting things came out of the study. On average, women do 2 times the amount of housework that their husband does. 2 times. That's a lot. It's a pretty big gap. It's interesting that when a single woman, and this is pretty telling, I think, when a single woman gets married, her housework goes up. Now, that's interesting because she's gone from a house where it was only her to now a house with another person. You would think if he does anything, her workload goes down. But the study said that actually adding a man into the house increases the amount of work that a woman does. There was another part of the study that was really interesting where they would have a husband and wife individually give tours of their home. And what they found is that every room that was at all messy, the wife would apologize. Hey, I'm sorry, this house is such a mess. Sorry, this room is such a mess. The husband would never apologize for the mess. So what you have there are multiple levels. Not only are women doing more housework than men are actually creating more housework for their wives, and women somehow find the tidiness of the house to be linked to their identity in a way that men do not. So what should we do with this? But when I read this study, there were 3 spiritual takeaways that I want to kind of bring to bear. 3 things that I think the Bible can help us as we think about the gender gap as it relates to housework. The first is this: if you are a woman and you're saying, yeah, I do most of the housework, I want to caution you against 2 ends of an extreme. Certainly I understand the maternalistic impulse to not have your house descend into chaos. That would be one end of the extreme, right? For a woman to say, I don't bear any responsibility for the shape of my house, and I'll let my family live in filth to prove that point. That wouldn't be good. I don't know if I've ever met any of those women. But the other end of the extreme is to think that somehow your worth as a woman is linked to the food you cook and the dishes you do and the laundry that you do for your family. Your identity is not in those things. Messy house or pristine house, your worth is bound up in Jesus Christ. Part of what it means to believe the gospel is to forego any other kind of scoreboard from which we derive our value. Your scoreboard is this: you're worth enough for Jesus Christ to give his life for you. I want you to find some rest in that. A second, for the men listening to this, I think we have to realize that while the church holds to a traditional view of gender and a traditional structure of the home, the husband as the head of the home and his wife in submission to him, a lot of men take advantage of that and are utilizing that to be lazy at home and to feel good about it. Like, hey, this should be her job. I am the king of my castle. Don't forget that the very passage that talks about wives submitting to husbands in Ephesians 5 begins with this verse in verse 21. Therefore, in Christ, submit one to another. The call for you as a husband is to lay your life down for your wife, to serve her and love her so much that she sees the beauty of Jesus in that. And that may not mean you do all the laundry or any of the laundry, but it definitely means you get up off the couch and contribute. And the third thing I want to say is this: if this dynamic is true in your family, you are headed to a bad place in your marriage, either aggressively in divorce or passively in just agreeing to live as roommates. Listen, wives, if you're burning out with housework, you need to say something. Your husband has the call of God in his life to care for you and serve you. He should be willing to hear your feedback. And husbands, you should be asking your wives, how am I doing? How am I doing? Is there more I need to do? Are there better ways for me to serve you? Because when I read this study, what I think is there are a lot of women out there who probably don't feel like they can share how frustrated they are and how tired and burnout they are with their husbands. And husbands, if that's true, shame on us. Listen, the gospel can not only save our souls, it can make our marriages and our homes healthier. God's desire is for us to flourish. Let's move that way together. Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode of Wake Up Lookup. While you're here, take a minute to like and subscribe. It really helps us get the word out. Don't hesitate to leave a review wherever you might find this podcast on an audio level and help spread the word. And hey, while you're here, check out all the other content we have at Christ Community Chapel on YouTube. Some of those videos are popping up on the screen now. Click on one.